from overseas, from other countries. And today I will ask Dina to be the anchorman of the meeting, and I will be on technical side of it. Dina, please, microphone for you.
Thank you very much. So welcome. If you can just share the presentation while I'm talking, Jonathan. And I'll just ask you to keep yourself on mute through this session until the end. And we will also very appreciate if you can write now your name and email in the chat box for us. So some of you already know GetGuide, so we will only remind you that GetGuide is a platform which its goals are connecting tour guides and tour leaders with tour operators and creating international social network of guides all over the world. Just a minute. Okay. If you want more information about the platform, kindly write it in the chat box as well, and we will make sure to get back to you within few days. I would like to introduce you to the management of the company. That next slide, please. So Yossi Shenhav is our CEO and a very experienced tour guide for both incoming and outgoing. Yossi, if you can just unmute yourself and say hi.
Good evening. Hi. Good evening.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you, Dina. Please go ahead.
Jonathan Hofi is the founder and CEO and a very experienced incoming tour guide. Everybody knows Jonathan, I think. Nomi Nir was the general manager of the School of Tourism for many years in Israel. She is also an experienced outgoing tour guide and a management team member of the Israeli Tour Guide Forum. Nomi?
היי לכולם, ערב טוב. דינה, תציגי גם את עצמך.
ברור. My name is Dina Lav. I'm a tour operator and an outgoing department manager for GetGuide. So if you know how to be a guide and you have your followers to travel with, but you are seeking professional help with the operational side of things, you're welcome to contact me directly. The objectives of these Zoom meetings are to open more options and horizons to tour guides that are interested in expanding their options and potential cooperation. Also, this is a great opportunity to build an international network of tour guides and tour operators. Actually, today, I hope they're already joined in. We have in this session tour guides from Israel, Russia, Uzbekistan, and of course, Spain. I would also like to take this opportunity to let you know that our next two sessions will open a window to St. Petersburg and to Dubai. I hope that Dania Ivanov from St. Petersburg is already joined this Zoom meeting as well. And welcome if she is. Also, we are now working on a series of meetings that will include practical information and knowledge on the general role and duties of an outgoing tour guide. We recommend that you will all follow GetGuide on Facebook, so you are updated with all the future events. I actually put the link on the chat box for your convenience, but it's really easy to find us in any case. So today we're opening a window to Spain. We're very happy to say Buenos tardes to our special guest, Almudena Cencerado, licensed tour guide from Toledo, and the chairman of Spain Tour Guide Association. We also want to welcome Daniel Aguilera Espinoza, licensed tour guide from Granada.
Okay, wait.
Each of them will present their destination. Almudena will present Madrid and Toledo, and Daniel will present Granada. Each will present for about 10 to 15 minutes, after which we will all have time to ask questions. If you have a question and you don't want to forget it, feel free to write it in the chat box. We will go over all the questions in the end. Almudena, the stage is yours, unless, Jonathan, you want to add something?
Yes, I would like to ask everybody who wants to give from us the link to the recorded of the record of the meeting, please in the chat put your name and your email, and we'll take care to send you the relevant information this time and all the our next meetings. Thank you. Almudena, please take the microphone.
Salam. Buenas tardes. Good evening to everybody. It is a pleasure to be with you today. And we are going to try to explain why everyone should come to Spain. Why Spain? Spain, as you know, is in the south of Europe and north of Africa. It's quite a big country, 500,000 square kilometers. It has more than 47 millions of inhabitants. And it's divided in 17 different regions. From the 60s, the first people that start to come to Spain, the first tourism, was interested more about the sea and sun. Obviously, weather is one of the reasons why to come to Spain. We have continental weather with Mediterranean influence, depends of the place of Spain you're visiting, but the weather is quite nice. In the interior, we have cold winter. We also have mountains in the north, in the middle, or in Granada, close to Danny's house. But in most of the places, the weather is usually very, very nice. We also have very interesting islands, Canary Islands and Baleares, that from years and years has been the favorite places for German people, French people, Italian, and people all around the world. The other reason why Spain is interesting is history. History because Spain has been, it is like a crossroad from Africa, from Europe, from America after 15th century. And this has been many different civilizations has been coming to Spain. For instance, Phoenician, Romans, Visigoth, Muslim, Jewish, and Christian. Many religion and different culture has improved the personality of the Spanish people nowadays. Spain is really special in the way that we have, as I told you, 17 different regions, and we have a government, as you know, a president and government in general, but most of the region has quite independence. I'm sure that you have heard about Catalonia in the northeast of Spain the month before. Catalonia, which capital is Barcelona. Barcelona is a beautiful city by the sea with interesting places to know and interesting history also. We also have Castilla-León, Castilla-La Mancha, Extremadura, Andalucía. Andalucía is in the south. It's very interesting. My colleague Danny will talk to you about this region. I'm coming from Castilla-La Mancha, from Toledo, but in the middle, as you can see, we have the capital of Spain, that is Madrid. Please, Jonathan, can you go through Madrid? Most of the people, most of the tourists that arrive to Spain come directly to Madrid because it's the biggest airport that we have in Spain. Barcelona and Madrid are the biggest one. And most of the people arrive by plane. It's also easy to come by bus, obviously, because there is a connection between France and Italy, very close, or Portugal. But most of the people arrive by plane. When people arrive by plane, usually my colleague from Madrid, when they collect them, gave them all the information, interesting information about the country and about the city, what to see, places to shop, currency, etc. Madrid is 12 centuries of history. It's a very interesting place also. It's a modern city nowadays. more than 6 million inhabitants. People are living now in Madrid from all around the world. Most of them are Spanish, but we welcome people from everywhere. Usually we got, before COVID-19, obviously, 11 million of tourists a year. In Spain, in 2018, we got 80 millions of visitors. It's quite nice, quite good. But obviously, as you know, this year everything is has been stopped. We hope for just few months. The culture is interesting, as I told you, because Madrid is, there are people from all the culture around. There are people that come to Madrid to study from America, from different part of Europe, from Africa, and it's really interesting. And people is very friendly. I think these places that welcome everyone from different parts of the world are special places because it's very easy to go walking in Madrid and ask someone if you get lost or you feel a little bit lost, and everyone will help you. Also, if you go to a cafe and are you asking for a coffee or something, and you ask the person that you have behind you, people is really very helpful and very nice to help you. Another interesting thing about Madrid, obviously, is that it's an ancient city. Before Madrid, the capital of Spain was Toledo. I will tell you about Toledo later on. But from 16th century, Madrid has been the capital under the King Ferdinand II that moved the capital from Toledo to Madrid. Then there are many different monuments from 16th century to nowadays. Jonathan, please, if you can pass the slide. From Roman period, also ancient period, Byzantine culture, the Arab that arrived in 711 from north of Africa and took part of the Iberian Peninsula, and they went also in Madrid, obviously, and then there is an interesting heritage about the Muslim architecture in the place. A Renaissance. I think the most important in Madrid is Renaissance, from Renaissance to nowadays. And the modern city. Madrid is a place in which you can move very easy by metro, by bus, by taxi. It's a very safety place. This is the modern city, modern buildings of Madrid. And it's very competitive about the other capital of Europe. Nowadays, as I told you, it's a very safety place. Obviously, as a big city all around the world, we advise visitors to be careful with pickpockets. If you're in a very busy place in the middle of the ancient city, having your shopping or whatever, you should take care of your personal belongings, like everywhere. But no one is going to use a gun or use a knife or whatever. It's a very safety city for visitors. The currency, the money, as you know, we are an European country, and then in Spain we use the euro, and it's very easy also to find places to change the money. You can usually, as you arrive in the airport, change the money there, but we recommend more the banks, not the houses of changing or something, but the banks are really good for changing the money if you don't have euros with yourself. Can you change the slide, please? In Madrid, we have in total 44 museums, very interesting ones, from ancient art to modern art, more than 12 theaters, 38 galleries, 160 exhibitions a year, and many ferias for the tourism, Fitur, for instance, that is in January or February. about tourism in the world. Probably any of you know Fitur, that is one of the biggest one in Europe. And we have also 4 annual festival. The place where now in front of us is the Museum of Reina Sofia, interesting from modern art, in which we keep some Picassos, like El Guernica, that is quite well known. Thank you, Jonathan. This is El Prado Museum. El Prado Museum is the biggest pinacotheque of Europe and one of the biggest in the world. And inside the El Prado, you can really know Velázquez, Goya, El Greco, Zurbarán, El Bosco, and many different artists. If you are interested about painting, about art, is one of the places that you shouldn't miss in your life. This is the Royal Palace. It's very interesting, from 16th century, Renaissance style. Still, the kings of Spain, the monarch of Spain, have some meetings with the politicians that come to Spain, but it's there is a chance, you have the opportunity of knowing the Royal Palace inside with your groups, and it's really very interesting. In front of the Royal Palace, you have the Cathedral of Almudena, that is my name. Almudena yesterday was my saint, Almudena in Madrid. No one's give me from my family congratulations, because it's only in Madrid, and I usually live in Toledo, but it's also a cathedral and Catholic one in front of the Royal Palace. Pass the slide one. The people that you can find in Madrid is like if you visit Paris or London or Berlin, there are people all around the world nowadays. This is a very open place, open mind, but people is really friendly. From history, there was the Ministry of Culture that made people also very open mind, and then obviously we respect each other, and we try to welcome everyone in our country, in our place in Madrid. Slide. We have a lot of influence from Byzantine art, from Muslim, from Gothic style from France, from Romanesque, from Renaissance. Then it's an interesting place if you are interested about history and art. Thank you, Jonathan. And we also have a synagogue, a modern synagogue. We have in Madrid a big community of Jewish people that have their synagogues there, and they meet with the population. We also pass the slide, Jonathan, please. Okay. We also have mosque, and obviously we have churches, or the Cathedral of Almudena, that is the patron of Madrid, as I told you.
Okay, yeah. Next one.
Next one. Yeah. And another temple, very well known in Madrid, and most of the people want to visit it, is El Real Madrid football pitch. Here it is. It is very interesting, and you can also visit even if there is not a football team. You can visit and you can have lunch inside. And know interesting thing about the Real Madrid and the players. And it's also interesting because we have two equipment from basketball, for sport, tennis. Madrid and Spain obviously is very well known. You know, Rafa Nadal, we are proud of him in all Spain from tennis. And then it's an interesting place also if you are interested about sport, running or whatever. And this is me. I was a little bit younger, and I was at summertime, very brown, but it has been a welcome to introduce you Madrid. Then I present my colleague Daniel, we're a very close friend, and I will be with you to tell you about my beautiful city, Toledo, later on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Almudena. Daniel, you want to tell us about Granada?
Sure,
I want to hear.
I'd like to share my screen, bad.
Let me just remind, while you're doing that, remind the audience, if you didn't write your name in email in the chat box, we will really appreciate it if you do.
Good. And well, here we are. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, great, good. So, well, I just want to introduce you to the city, in my lovely city and lovely destination. I know some of you've already been to Spain, and you know the country a little bit. And well, as Almudena said, we have the whole country split into 17 states, if you like, you know. And in the case of Granada, we are in Andalusia, southern Spain, so we're in the south of the south, you may say. And well, of course, a lovely destination. So let me show you a little bit, because I just want to give you some practice tips about how to get to Granada, what to do in Granada, the main highlights, and what you need to know to visit the city of Granada. So basically, Granada, as I said, is right down there in the south. And then most of the people coming from abroad, from foreign countries, are coming to two main airports, as Almudena said a few minutes ago, Madrid, okay, and Barcelona. From Madrid, you can take a flight and come to Granada in barely 35, 40 minutes, or Barcelona is around 1 hour, more or less. If you are more into a car, you have some distances in here. In the case of Madrid, 418 kilometers, so 4.5 hours by car, more or less. Or in case you're in Seville, you have just 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours to 45 minutes, more or less, 2 hours, 45 minutes. Another possible destination by plane, by flight, is Malaga, which is one of the main international airports in Spain, and is one of the favorite options for those foreigners visiting Andalusia, especially, because in the case of distance from Granada, you see, is just 125 kilometers, so barely 1.5 hours by bus, so pretty close. Well, if you are more into ships, you have some very interesting options too. They are becoming very popular destination for day trips, especially. The most popular seaport in the surroundings of Granada is Malaga, as I just said, so barely 1.5 hours. But you have another two options. Motril, which is the closest to Granada, and from the Motril seaport to Granada, there are barely 45 minutes to the Alhambra car park, from the seaport to the Alhambra car park, and Almeria. It's also a good option. And as I say, it is becoming a very, very popular day trip or day excursion, you know. Train. Well, in the last few years, we have no train connection in Granada, since they were building the new high-speed line connecting Granada to Madrid and Barcelona. Now you can take, you know, the high-speed train in Spain is the AVE, A-V-E. And well, you have connection Madrid, 3.5 hours, more or less, and Barcelona, 6 hours. And coming soon, Malaga and Seville, but not yet, you know. So best options, in my opinion, by plane or by car, by bus, you know. So Granada itself, amazing city in the southeast of Spain. It's not a very large city, it's a medium city. You see, the population officially is around 232,000 people, but actually there are more than 300,000 inhabitants in Granada, including too many tourists and especially students. Nearly 70,000 students coming to study in Granada, to the University of Granada every year. So that makes of Granada a medium city, lovely to walk and so, but at the same time, very alive place. It's a very alive place from the point of view of a visitor, restaurants, and very nice cultural life, a really nice nightlife too, as you can imagine, with so many young people. So lovely. Typical climate in Granada, very similar to Madrid, actually. So continental, extreme temperatures, really high during the summertime. So July and August are not the best months to visit Granada, because we can easily reach 40, 43, 45 degrees Celsius, which is a hell, literally a hell. And the winter can be very cold too. We are quite high above the sea level, around 700 meters high, and to the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountain range. very close to the mountains, very close to a ski resort as well. So that's why there are so many people coming in winter for snow sports. But that also means that we have lovely nights of below 0 temperatures, -3, -5, after Christmas, especially January, February. So it can be really, really cold. So best seasons to visit Granada, of course, March to June. June is a lovely month to visit Granada. Very long days, not too hot. Not too hot in Granada means 31, 32 degrees, but it's not the 45 of July, at least. And right now, October, November, it's an amazing period of the year to visit Granada. Lovely colors, as you can imagine, and nice temperatures, not too many people, so lovely. In a regular year, there's nobody right now because the Alhambra closed today. It's going to be closed for the next 2 weeks, you know, lovely. Well, so talking about the Alhambra, what to see in Granada? Alhambra, you know, is one of the highlights. It's an amazing complex. You know, we normally know most beautiful pictures of the Alhambra, the old Moorish palaces, but in reality, this is a huge complex, more than 60 hectares of terrain. So, which is 1 hectare is the size of a football stadium, soccer ball stadium. So think of 60 soccer ball stadiums. And there are 2 main parts, the Alhambra itself, which is a small city within the city of Granada, and the beautiful gardens, the Generalife. So a regular tour of the Alhambra normally takes 2.5 up to 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And you have to walk around 4.5 kilometers. It's a long walk, but really worth it on the other hand. Many visitors a day, more than 8,000 people, which basically means 3 million visitors every year. And what you have to know about the Alhambra, and some tips about you traveling to the Alhambra. First of all, sometimes it's not easy to get tickets for the Alhambra, so you need to book in advance. In fact, last February, the administration of the Alhambra, they have introduced a new booking system. So now you can book up to 1 year ahead your tour. Okay, so you need to book in advance. And what do you need to book your tickets? You need the names and passport or ID number or drive license of all of your clients. So if you want to come to Granada and visit the Alhambra, a group of 25, 30 people, you need a list of names, 25 people, and the 25 IDs. Doesn't mind if you use passport or any other identification, but you need all that information before you go to book the tickets. Once you book the tickets, you don't book the tickets, you buy the tickets. You pay the full fee, the full entrance fee, and there are no refunds once you pay the tickets. That's something very important to take into account. So before you book the Alhambra, the tickets for the Alhambra complex, you need to be very sure about that information about the number of people coming and so that's, we can give you a hand on that because it's a bit complex, but it's one of the services we can give you. So after that, you have to know that you need to use a Whispers system and a headset system to visit the Alhambra. That's very important. So is compulsory since 2011. So for the last 10 years. So from 7 people up to 30, which is a maximum allowed of people in a group, you need to use these headsets. And then that is the second date, that's the second point, no more than 30 people in a group, no more than 30 people per official guide. So that means if you are coming in a bus with 50 people, you need to split the group, you need to divide the group into 2 smaller groups, and then you need 2 licensed guides, 2 official guides for the Alhambra tour. And they are very strict, the number of visitors, because it's not just 1 checkpoint, but you have to give the ticket all the time, and then you have to pass at least 3 different checkpoints. And that's also something new that has just changed last spring. Now you don't use the ticket itself, but your ID. So they have like a laser, we may say, in all of the different checkpoints to get into the palaces, to get into the gardens, to get into the different sections of the monument. And what the client, what the visitor has to show is not the ticket itself, but the ID, drive license, passport, or whatever. Okay, so it's very important. You have to come to visit the Alhambra with your original document. No copies accepted, no photographs on your mobile, but your original document. And they are very strict with that. If you don't have your document with you, you cannot get into the Alhambra. You cannot enter into the different sections of the Alhambra. Something to take into account. As I said, well, you have the two main parts of the Alhambra are the palaces, you know, with these amazing pictures of the old Patio de los Arrayanes. Arrayanes, the Myrtle, Court of the Myrtles, and of course, El Patio de los Leones, which is an amazing and one of the most popular pictures in not only in Granada, but all over Spain. You go to any tourism fair, whatever, you'll find this lovely picture everywhere. So that is the highlight within the Alhambra. This is maybe the main point where what everybody wants to know, where the picture that everyone wants to take. The restoration was done just a few years ago, and now it looks amazing and really spectacular. And the second main section of the Alhambra is the Generalife, you know, the gardens. This beautiful picture on your right is the main patio in the Summer Palace, because actually the Generalife is a summer palace, and is probably one of the most typical views of the Alhambra. But as I say, sometimes in a regular year, it can be quite complicated to get the Alhambra tickets. Anyway, you have different types of visit to the Alhambra. You have a general visit for the whole thing, including palaces, gardens, and so. There's another kind of ticket, including everything except the palaces, which is not properly known as, or not properly called as gardens ticket, but it's not including only the gardens, but the whole thing except the palaces. And then there are night visits that are beautiful too. It's not the best option. This is your first time to the Alhambra, but if you have the opportunity of coming back, or you can do both, day and night visit, it's lovely. The night visit including only the main palaces. This includes just the Nathari palaces, but it's really beautiful. It's more magic if you like. So in the Alhambra area, there are some very good restaurants, very lovely place where to try local cuisine and not too expensive. That's important too. But in the case of hotels and accommodations, it's not the best area in Granada. There are some lovely hotels, even two hotels inside of the Alhambra itself, the old main street. One of them is a Parador, one of the Paradores in Spain, lovely, on old Franciscan convent, turned into a Parador in the 1940s. But, you know, once the Alhambra is closed, there's nothing to do up there, just to see the lovely and kind cats living at the Alhambra. But there are no bars, there are no shops up there. So once the Alhambra is closed at 8 p.m. during the summertime and 6 p.m. in winter, you have nothing to do except sleep. Okay, so, you know, something you have to take into account to choose a good hotel in Granada, a good accommodation in Granada. So apart from the Alhambra, the old city, of course, Albaicin, which is the oldest quarter in the city, is the place, is normally known as the old Arab neighborhood or the old Arab district of Granada, but it's truly the place where the city of Granada was born, we may say, is the origin of the city itself. You see a beautiful chart up here on the top. If you know the Albaicin, that is the San Nicolas Square, an amazing view of the Alhambra and Sierra Nevada, if you've ever been to there. And that is the very place where the city of Granada was born some 3,000 years ago. So in the Albaicin, you'll find the remains of all of the different cultures we'd ever had in Granada: Iberians, Romans, Visigoths, Arabs, Christians, and who's coming next? We don't know, the Martians or whatever. So it's a lovely place. It's a lovely place for tapas. There are some very good tapas bars and small and beautiful squares with lovely cafes as well. And it's the best place, the surroundings of the San Nicolas Square, for those type of romantic dinners, even in all houses, all Carmenes. Carmen, you know, is a very typical name for ladies, women in Spain. And Carmen is also the name given to the typical local houses in Granada. And then some of them has been transformed into lovely restaurants. There are lovely views of the Alhambra, amazing views of the Alhambra in the evening, and you can enjoy good local cuisine, good wines, and so. And in the last few years, in the last 15 to 16 years, some of those old houses and buildings have been turned into lovely, charming hotels, we may say. Those are small hotels with just a few rooms, amazing views of the Alhambra, not even kids in some cases. And so it's a lovely place. If you're coming with individuals, if you're coming individually or very small groups, you know, no more than maybe 10, 12 persons in the group, and That's lovely. Problem, we have a very important issue in the case of Alhambra and Albaicin. Okay, in both cases, they are pretty difficult for disabled people. Slow walkers, wheelchairs are almost impossible in the case of the Albaicin, though in the case of the Alhambra, they have a special disabled road, we can call it if you want, and then that give you access to the main parts of the Alhambra. So you can see the main patios of the palaces and the main parts of the summer palace, but that's all. You miss the gardens, you miss the old fortress. So very aged people, well, slow walkers or disabled people, Albaicin especially can be a hard trip for them, a hard journey for them. Another beautiful quarter in Granada is the Realejo quarter, which is the old Garden Natalia, which is to the southern south of the Alhambra, the southern side of the Alhambra hill, the same hill of the Alhambra itself. And it's a part of what we call the unknown Granada. It's one of the still to be discovered by most of the tourists coming to Granada. It's the Jewish quarter of the city, though we have almost no remains of the Jewish part of Granada, though more than 15 centuries of Sephardic presence in the city of Granada. But it's not the same as in Toledo, where you can still find some remains of the old Jewish person, or Cordoba, where you still have the synagogue very close to the Great Mosque. In the case of Granada, we just have the memories. It's a lovely place for accommodations. There are some very good hotels in the case of the Realejo Quarter. One of them is the Alhambra Palace Hotel, beautiful building, more than 100 years old, built in the early 20th century. In that period of time when it became very popular, the Islamic art, the Arab art again. So it's inspired in the Alhambra. The inspiration of that building was the Alhambra itself. And then in all of the rooms, you find beautiful tiles and amazing wooden ceilings. And it's right on the top of the quarter, up in the hills. So you have a lovely view. You can enjoy a lovely sight of Granada from up there. And some very good restaurants too. So Realejo is good for both restaurants and accommodation. And then, well, if we keep going, the city center, you know, the main area of Granada, what we call the historical city center, where you find two of the highlights of Granada, apart from the Alhambra, the cathedral, which is the second largest cathedral in Spain. When we talk about cathedrals, especially in Spain, we think of Gothic style, Toledo, Leon, Burgos, and so. But never forget that Granada was the last Muslim city taken over by the Christians in 1492. So the Gothic, by the end of the 15th century, the Gothic style is almost out of date, you may say. And there's a new influence coming from Italy, the Renaissance style. So that's why the Granada's cathedral is really interesting. It's pretty interesting because it's really different, the kind of cathedrals you'll find all over the rest of the country. And not too far from the cathedral, the Royal Chapel, La Capilla Real, the burial chapel of Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. Small building, but very interesting from the historical point of view, because, you know, 1492, it's a very important point in the history of Spain and even the history of the rest of the world. Nice for walking for all kind of people. It's a very flat area of the city, so not very long distances. So it's available for all kinds, suitable for all kind of people, even disabled, even wheelchairs and so. It's mostly reserved to pedestrians. So most of the lovely plazas, the squares, and the streets in the city center for walkers. Is the best place for shopping, of course, you know, is where you can find the old silk market of the city, which is a beautiful place where to get some local handcrafts and souvenirs and so. The best tapas, bars, and really good restaurants are in the city center, and the best hotels, the most comfortable, are also in the city center. And of course, not too far from the cathedral, you'll find El Corte Inglés, which is also a very important reference in any Spanish city. So from that point of view, from the practice point of view, if you are coming to Granada to spend a couple of nights, because normally groups are spending 2-3 nights in Granada in a tour to Spain, the best option is a hotel in the city center, exactly very close to the cathedral or the Royal Chapel, or not too far from this area, okay, because it's a place where your guests, your clients will find the best places for tapas and have lovely dinners and so so it's a great, especially if they have free meals and so you have some free time for shopping and so of course in most of these shops from the point of view of a tour guide, you can get some benefits as well, of course. So that's also interesting from that point of view. And well, that is maybe the highlights. What I can tell you at least, basically from Granada. We can give you support. We have, apart from myself, and I've been working as a tour guide in Granada for the last 18 years. We also have a company from Common Services, and we can give you a hand, as I said, in booking your Alhambra tickets. If you need any other information about transportation, hotels, and so. And our offices are up in the Alhambra, so we have even a shop right in front of the Alhambra ticket office. So even we work with some companies and as representative of some companies for host of individual clients and so. So anything you may need in Granada, just give us a call and we can arrange it, okay? So thanks for hearing me, my friends.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I'm already on the plane. Okay, so Almudena will be our last, will give us the last presentation for Toledo, after which we will have time for questions. Again, if you prefer to write them down in the chat box, that's okay as well. Go ahead, Almudena.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Danny. I'm dreaming about going to Granada when everything is it's okay. And welcome now to my beautiful city, Toledo. Toledo is a place in the middle of Spain. It's very, very close to Madrid. Usually by car is you can delay to 1 hour. It's 80 kilometers from Madrid and at the south of Madrid. We also have a high speed train, like Danny have told you. We have many now in Spain, from Madrid to Barcelona, from Madrid to Malaga. Madrid Toledo is just 25 minutes. It's quite fast. It's my recommendation for most of the groups, because we can collect the groups in the train station. That is also so beautiful. And at the beginning, what we usually do is to surround the city of Toledo, that most of it is surrounded by the river Tajo. Tajo, T-A-E-O, is the longest river in the Iberian Peninsula, is the one that ends in Lisbon. And this is one reason why Toledo has been important in its past, because it's a very safety place. It was a safety place on a hill. And then this was one of the reasons, a part of that was the crossroads of many different civilizations, from Roman, Visigoth, Muslim, Christian, again. What about banks? It's very easy to go also to the main square, the Square, in which you can find many banks to change your money. About restaurant and gastronomy is very rich. Usually now, in the last times, I also recommend people to make some cooking class. I've been cooking, for instance, the typical sweet that is mazapan for most of my groups. And then we enjoy cooking and having the most important recipe that we got from past, from our ancestor, many Sephardic, the beautiful dishes, or many typical dishes in Spain and in Toledo. Gastronomy is very rich. Toledo is a very small place. Toledo is only 5,000 people living. Sorry, 5,001, because yesterday was said that one of my close friends has a baby girl. But and we know each other in Toledo. It's something that when I got my clients from America, from New York, for instance, they're surprised that you say hola, hello to everyone, and it's very friendly people. Then you feel at home when you come to Toledo, to this nice and magic place. I used to say that my city, Toledo, is not a place. It's like a stage in your soul, something real magical. The weather is a continental weather with a Mediterranean influence. As my colleague Daniel told you, very cold winters and very hot summers, invierno and infierno, winter and hell. Then my recommendation again is to come in spring or autumn. That is are the nicer temperature that we have in this month. And the language is Spanish also. Shopping is also interesting. We have many shops. It's a very touristical place close to Madrid, very historical site. And then this is why we have a lot of different shops that or groups really enjoy. For instance, one curiosity, we are very famous about swords, the swords, the Toledan steel. I remember when I was a tour leader and I went once to Denmark, and there was someone dressed as a Viking with a sword, and I was close to it and say, made in Toledo. For many American films like Gladiator and so on, we also made the swords in Toledo. It's the kind of work in the steel that made it famous, because we use, after putting the steel in fire, we use olive oil. That is very good in Spain and very good in our area. And this is why the leaf were very flexible and hard at the same time. And this is one of the typical souvenirs that the teenagers really love, swords. Then we bring our groups to a place in which they can really see how the sword makers are still working, and it's really interesting. We have in total 111 monuments that are declared good of cultural interest. That means usual people, as we are close to Madrid, come and spend in Toledo one morning on one day. What I recommend, obviously, to stay 1 or 2 nights in Toledo, to leave the city, to walk through by the night. That is really safety and very, very, very nice. Please, Jonathan, the next slide. This is a lovely picture from that I took in a storm from the cathedral. This is the Alcázar, the Royal Palace, that is now the Army Museum of Spain. A different picture from Toledo. It's for you to see how magical place it is. Please. The Cathedral of Toledo is a 13th century one. Is the primate of Spain. That means the most important one of the richest cathedral I've seen in my life. And this is really interesting also to visit. Please, Jonathan. This is the Alcázar. I love a photograph, as you can see. Another one, please. The cathedral again. Please, another one. This is the main one of the main square in front of where we have the city hall, the Archbishop Palace, and the Cathedral of Toledo, the Gothic style 13th century one, please. And we also have the Jewish quarter. The Jewish quarter, we don't have many Jews living now in the small city. Most of them lives in Madrid because there are more opportunity about job and so. But it is interesting because we have the heritage, a very strong heritage about Sephardic in Toledo. 1/4 part of the city in medieval time was the Juderia, Jewish quarter. And it's really interesting because we still keep 2 synagogues, ancient synagogue. Please, Jonathan. One is from 12th century, this one that you have in front of you, with Arab influence in the architecture, but an ancient, beautiful synagogue, Sephardic synagogue. Please, the other one, 12th century old. And the Sephardic Museum is 14th century, is Samuel Halevi's Abolafia. And then you can see the women gallery, the hall. You can see it's Hebrew all around, beautiful. But the influence is also what we call mudéjar, that is very typical in Toledo. Please, Jonathan, another one. The decoration is so pretty. It reminds also the influence that we have from Granada. Even you have the Hebrew, part of the Psalm 108 that is written in the building. Please. This is obviously the Torah that we have because it's the Sephardic Museum. And this is an interesting bridge. This St. Martin Bridge is the bridge from which most of the Jewish people that were living in my city, in Toledo, in 1492 were expelled from the Catholic monarch, Isabel Fernando, and they cross this bridge on the way to north of Africa or many other places. Then it's really, when I'm guiding Jewish people from all around the world, I used to start my tour crossing this bridge and welcoming people coming back again to Sefarat, to Toledo, because it's really really emotional to everyone that visit my city. I have forgotten to tell you about all the trains, the high-speed train that we have in Spain, that is quite interesting. Also, and I don't know. I think this is all that I can tell you about my city, Toledo. I'm obviously in love with because part of my family were Sephardic in past, and I'm really interested about Jewish history. And this is why I welcome everyone, and I hope things are improving soon. And next year we can see each other. And another interesting thing, nowadays the restriction about people coming to Spain, it depends of the place, it depends of the region. In Toledo, for instance, the groups cannot be bigger than 9 persons plus the guide. In these areas, outside, 20 people, 20 plus guide. Inside, 9 people. In Madrid, in most of the places are also like that, 9 people plus guide in El Prado Museum or interior, and outside, we don't have restriction nowadays in the buses in Madrid and Toledo. And it's, that's all. If you have a question, it will be a pleasure for Danny or for myself to answer.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Does anyone has a question? You can just unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, what are the possibilities to get kosher food, kosher meals in Granada or in Toledo?
In Madrid, there are a few kosher restaurants. In Toledo, we don't have a real kosher restaurant. What we have is a vegetarian restaurant. That is the one that I usually recommend to my clients. Or many people bring their own food, but we have a lot of different dishes in the restaurant that you can ask that are considered kosher, not proper ones, like pisto manchego that are made by vegetables, or gazpacho, that is a cold soup that we usually eat at summertime, a tomato soup, very interesting, with cucumber and so. And we have but unfortunately, as we are a very small place, a small city, we still don't have a kosher restaurant in Toledo. Danny?
Please unmute.
Same in Granada, but we don't have a real kosher restaurant in Granada so far, And as Almudena said, we have some very good vegetarian restaurants and some very good vegetarian dishes you can use for that, So, but well, unfortunately, we have many different types of food and many different types of restaurant in Granada, but not a kosher restaurant yet.
Yeah, I know this, but I thought that maybe there are some arrangements with the community in Madrid or in Malaga. Maybe they can cater into those places.
Maybe
anything about it?
I know that some groups are bringing their own food if coming from Malaga or from Madrid in this case, because in reality, in the case of Granada, we don't even have a synagogue to walk in today, and we have a very small Jewish community, but it's much larger in Malaga. So in some cases, if they do a day trip to Granada, they bring their own food from Malaga. And well, we have lovely places where to sit and relax and have a nice lunch.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question?
Yeah, good evening. In some cases, you can a religious tourist can get himself okay with the fish restaurant or vegetarian restaurant. Do you have some in Toledo or Granada?
Yes, yes, we have vegetarian, and we also have a very nice places for fish. And usually people are very happy when they come to Toledo, and they come to these places. We also organize some catering. For instance, my brother has been prepared. We have a beautiful house that is Tigarral, like Carmenes in Granada. And sometimes we have prepared kosher food, special kosher food, catering in special places. That is much easier for us, because as we don't have every day Jewish people coming to the small town, and this is why we don't have a kosher restaurant. But especially for a special occasion, we have prepared with also beautiful Sephardic music and so, and this is also interesting for you.
Thank you very much.
Same in Granada. So you have some lovely fish restaurants very near the cathedral area, some of the goods in the city, some of the best in the city, in fact, and same with the vegetarians. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else on this topic or any other topics?
Hi. May I just ask, you didn't mention Barcelona at all. I know it's not the same. This is Castilla and this is Catalonian language and others, but it's a very popular place among Israeli tourists. Can you say something about tourism there?
Oh, sorry about it, because probably we would could have another colleague from Barcelona, but she wasn't today available, and this is why. Barcelona is a very interesting place. It has also a good connection by plane, by train. They have the sea nearby. It's really interesting. It's one of the most beautiful cities in Spain, without a doubt, with lovely places like the ancient cathedral, the ancient quarter, Sagrada Familia, architecture, people very friendly. And as a big city, a very European city, you can also have a nice restaurant, hotels, different qualities, and so then it's one of my recommendations, without a doubt.
Actually, we didn't have time, and we didn't ask to prepare a separate presentation of this time. We didn't ask to prepare a separate presentation of Barcelona, because Spain is a big country. It is life is short, and we'll do another session definitely about other destinations in Spain.
Actually, we have several meetings. You know, we have actually doing it. This is the fourth, I think, fourth meeting, and every week or 2 weeks we are going to have another presentation. So, of course, Spain is very big. First of all, Modena and my friend, it was a very excellent presentation. Thank you so much. But I think we have taste for more. So we are going to make also for Barcelona and other places in Spain. I think this is a serial, so we might come back to you very soon. Okay. So Barcelona will be maybe some in the close time. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
No,
Yes, Naomi.
I want to say thank you very much to everybody. It was really interesting. And that's it.
Thanks.
Naomi, you wanted to ask something too?
Yeah. I want both of you to mention about compulsory of local tour guide to accompany the groups. I know that in Toledo you must have a local guide, in Madrid also, in Granada also. So if you can talk about this a little, this. And also I want to say welcome to our colleagues from Madrid. Hadar, if you're still here, hi Hadar.
Hadar is still here, and she can't open up her. We actually have a guest. We didn't know she will be here, but she lives in Madrid, and she's also a tour guide. But her microphone, she can't open it up, so
it's okay.
We'll connect with her later. But
okay. So about the compulsory of local guide in the site.
Just if everyone else can mute, please. There's a lot of noise.
I will mute.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes, I can answer to you. As I told you at the beginning, we are 17 different regions. In Spain, every region has their own law, but actually in most of them, in most of the regions, you need to contract a local guide, to guide in the place. Sometimes what happened that we cannot talk in Hebrew, and the groups cannot talk in English. This is why we use a translator, or the tour leader usually translate to us. We try to be good to each other and understanding with each other, because it's very important, the work that we can do for people to be happy.
I want to ask about what Naomi just mentioned. When you come to Toledo and to Granada, all the places you need the local guide with you? Because I know in Catalonia, only in few places, you don't need all around. I used to live there, I just come back now. I used to live there for many years, for 6 years, so I know that. But I don't know, in Granada, in the Toledo, you need all the day with you, the local guide, or just in few places?
Yeah, because Granada, Toledo, and another different cities in Spain are humanity heritage. That means that the whole city is like a place inside. It's considered like then you cannot guide neither outside without a local guide.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
What are the limitations according to the local regulations about the drivers? How long, how many hours they can drive a day, how many kilometers they can drive a day? Are there any rules about it?
Yes, they're like in Europe. It's the same laws than Europe. 8 hours at most. If there is a long trip, there should be 2 drivers, 2 different drivers to bring the bus or drive, not more than it. And it's really very secure and very strict. We are very strict about it.
And it's not possible one day 10 hours and the next day 6 hours. You don't.
No, because there is a disc that they used to put in the bus, and then it's the 8 hours, and you cannot say, oh, today I will use 14 and tomorrow I will. No. This was in past. This was in past, but obviously this is for security, because the accident, we take care of people, and I think this is very important for our clients and to be safety.
And they have to take a break after every 2 hours, or
yeah,
something like this? Yeah,
they have to take every 2 hours, 45 minutes, or a small break. There were, I'm not sure now. I'm really sure about the 40 minutes every half an hour or something, but they should stop for things. This is something that other countries cannot understand, because they think, oh, this is the guy, the tour leader or the driver that are so they don't want to work. No, this is for security, and this is very, very important for everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a Portuguese passport. I'm coming with a group from Israel. Still, I need a tour guide, a local tour guide.
If you are Portuguese?
Passport, but I'm coming from Israel.
Yeah. It doesn't
and
matter.
Israeli too.
Yeah,
Israeli
it-
people.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Everybody, if you're coming from France or Italy or whatever, if you are not a guide,
need a
a
local
licensed guide, everyone needs a local guide, not only people that come from Israel. Everyone in the
Thank
world.
you. Thank you.
A question in the Alhambra, if the group has their own Air Force, do they still have to change it to the local Air Force? Speaking, because in the group they ask you to have Air Force.
I cannot hear you very well because someone
I'm
has the
sorry.
microphone open.
Okay, I'll repeat. At the Alhambra, you need to have Air Force.
Whiskers, yeah.
Whispers,
Yes.
okay. If the group has their own whisper,
You can use it without any problem. Right, you can use it. In fact, most of the groups are already coming from the whole trip. If they are in 6, 7, 10 days in Spain, for the whole tour, they have their own whispers. And now it's even better. Due to COVID-19, it's even recommended if you have your own one and you are not taking one each one in a different city. So you can do that, or in case you don't have it for the whole tour, you can hide it at the Alhambra. Okay, even in the case of our company, we hide this type of whispers for the local tours. So in the Alhambra, you have to use it in the Alhambra, and then we recommend it for the rest of the city. Because if you go to visit the cathedral or the Royal Chapel or the Old Town, it's not compulsory, but it's highly recommended.
We also in the Spanish Confederation, we both of us take part of it. We are trying to find another kind of whisper. For instance, we have a few companies that offer to us some application for your mobile phone. Then soon people could use their own telephone with their own whisper. Obviously, after COVID-19, it's very important not to touch things each other and so on. This is an implementation that we are now studying also.
Very nice.
Another question?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daniel and Almudena, and every guest that is here. We're hoping to see you in our next sessions as well, whether in Spain or in other countries. It was great. We enjoyed it very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
אחרונה. זהו. יוסי נעלם אבל. איפה יוסי?
יוסי?
שכח שזה או שהוצאת אותו בטעות? לא. אולי הוצאת אותו בטעות?
יכול להיות שאנחנו כן העפנו אותו, שנייה אחת.
אתה איתו?
אני עכשיו מבקש שהוא ייכנס.
נעמי, מה שעשיתי, פשוט כתבתי לה, שאלתי אותה אם היא רוצה לענות לשאלה שהייתה של האוכל. ואז היא כתבה לי שהיא הייתה רוצה, אבל היא לא יכולה, כי היא לא יכולה לעשות במיקרופון, אבל היא תשמח אם ככה וככה. אז אמרתי לה, תראי, אני לא יכולה, אבל תכתבי את בעברית. אני לא יכולה לכתוב בעברית בתור המארחת. תכתבי את בעברית, מה שאת רוצה, את במיוט. אז זהו. לא, את עדיין במיוט.
אנחנו לבד, רק יוסי חסר לנו.
כן, עכשיו כתבתי לו.
קודם כל לא הייתה לנו בעיה של 100. אבל האמת, כי אני ראיתי, כי 35 אמרו שהם יבואו, תמיד אלה חלק כזה.
מה 35? 80?
לא, יש את הבאים ויש את המעוניינים. אבל אני שואלת את עצמי, המערכת הזאת נותנת מספיק